What we're going to go over next is when you're given 2 points, you have to write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form, and the slope ends up being 0 or undefined. So here are 2 examples of where the slope is going to end up being 0 and how we're going to work that out. So to write the equation of a line, I need 2 pieces of information. I need the slope and the y-intercept. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what the slope is. Remember, to figure out the slope, you take your y's, subtract them, put it in the top. Take your x's and subtract them, put it in the bottom. My first y is 2 minus my second y, which is also 2. My first x is negative 11 minus my second x, which is 8. 2 minus 2 is 0 divided by negative 19, and 0 divided by negative 19 is 0. So I'm going to continue on. Y is equal to mx plus b is what I'm going to use to figure out the y-intercept, because I need the slope and I need the y-intercept. I'm going to use one of these points and this slope, plug it into this formula, and it's going to tell me what the y-intercept is. I'm always just going to use this first point right here. So the y for this first point is 2 is equal to the slope times my first x plus b. 0 times negative 11 is 0. Don't have to write zeros, so this ends up with my y-intercept being 2. So I'm ready to write the equation of this line because I have the 2 pieces of information I need. Y is equal to, I write down the slope, I put an x beside it, and then I put the y-intercept on the end. Remember, 0 times anything is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. So we could go through this and get this answer every single time, but what we would hope you would do is start to think about what this line is going to look like on a graph. So I can draw a graph right here, and we can think about what this line is going to look like. Y is equal to 2. It has a slope of 0. Something that has a slope of 0 is a horizontal line. This is telling me what the y-intercept is. So I want to go up 2. Y-intercept would be right there. And if I drew a line that goes across, it would look like this right here. What I need to do is think about some points that are going to be on this line. Like I've got this one right here. This is 0, 2. This one right here could be 1, 2. This one right here could be 2, 2. This point right here could be negative 1, 2. And this one right here could be negative 2, 2. What do all these points have in common? They have a y-coordinate of 2. Looking at these, the y is equal to 2. That's the equation of this line. The y will always be equal to 2. So that when you get one of these, you shouldn't have to go through this entire process to figure out that y is equal to 2. We can start off by trying to find the slope, and that's what we're going to do on the second example. We go, okay, the slope is equal to, take my y's and subtract them, take my x's and subtract them, put it in the bottom. The y's go in the top, the x's go in the bottom. My first y is negative 2. The opposite of my next y is positive 2. My first x is 17. The opposite of my next x is 13. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. 17 plus 13, 30. 0 divided by 30 is 0. As soon as I see that I have a slope of 0, I should be able to look back and go, look, what is my common y here? As soon as I see that it has a slope of 0, I'm not going to have an x in these problems. And I look back and see what my y is. My y is equal to negative 2. That is the equation of this line right here. I don't have to go through this. I could continue on and it would give me the answer every single time. But we need to start thinking and making it easier on ourselves and go, hey, well, the y on this kind of problem, since it has a slope of 0, will always be negative 2. We're going to look at some examples where you get no slope. And what we were doing before about thinking about what the line looks like is going to really help us on ones like this. So, the slope is figured out by taking my y's and subtracting them, putting them in the top, taking my x's and subtracting them, putting them in the bottom. My first y, -3. The opposite of my next y, -8. My first x is 4. The opposite of my next x, -4. -3 minus 8, -11. 4 minus 4 is 0. I can't divide by 0. This is no slope. The formula is not even going to help us on this one. We need to think about what this line is going to look like on a graph. Once we think about what this line looks like on a graph, then it's going to help us write the equation for that line. Since this has no slope, it's going to go up and down. The only axis it's going to run into if it goes up and down is x. The only axis it's going to hit is x. That means there's not going to be a y in this equation. Every point on this line, 1, 2, 3, 4, is going to have an x coordinate of 4 because I go over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 3, over 4, up 8, it'll be way up here, but regardless, that's going to be a line that's going straight up and down. And what coordinate will all these points have in common? This x coordinate. You simply write down x is equal to 4. Hopefully you'll start to look at these and go, hey, this is me thinking about the process, but this is my answer right here because of this right here. X is equal to 4. This has no slope. It's going to go straight up and down. I'll look at my x coordinates. That's what the x will always be. That's the equation of this line. So we would hope you would get to this point where you just start to find the slope on example number 4. Y minus y, x minus x. Take your y's. First y is -5. Opposite of my next y, +10. My first x is -1. The opposite of this one, +1. 5 divided by 0. No slope. As soon as I see a line that has no slope, it goes up and down. It has no y. I write down x is equal to, and look at the x they have in common, -1. That's how you determine the equation of a line when it's no slope.